And hello, everyone. Welcome to the WARTburg Infusion Entertainment Review. It's WAFER episode number 21. We're recording these a little out of order because 20 we're going to record later today about the Loki finale. But for 21 today, we brought in a guest. We've got Crofteria here to talk Mass Effect.
Hello.
And she's an old friend of both Fusion and myself. Probably one of the oldest internet friends I actually have, even though we didn't talk for like forever. But we actually met through the Rooster Teeth forums back in the day when it was actually a forums website. What was that? The level 20 introduction thread?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, and then that
Good
morphed.
old Oxford comma.
Yeah, morphed into the Oxford Comma Cafe.
Yeah.
Where people actually care about punctuation and grammar. It's always a good time. So that was, I think, like would have been late 2013 for me. I think when I got in on the forums finally.
Yeah, I think it was about the same for me.
Yeah.
2014 maybe? Yeah.
Yeah, because I went to RTX 2013 with my buddy Joey, and then I was like, I should probably get on the website with an actual username and use it. And then, the rest is history. Met some awesome friends like you two, and now we're making podcasts together.
Man, you jumped right into it
Yay!
because 13, you jumped into the OCC and immediately you were on the podcast. Not long after that, right?
Yeah,
we
because
were
I got
doing
in
the
on
podcast.
the OCC like ground floor, and then also TFT like
Yeah,
like
forum thread.
just after that first wave of posts, I found the TFT, and I was like, this is a crazy concept. I love it. So internet, like nobody uses personal pronouns. It's all this thread. Everyone is a thread. It's great. Loved it.
It's that whole "We Are Legion" approach,
It
which
was
is
awesome.
interesting because we're talking about
Exactly.
Legion today.
Yeah, we will definitely be talking about
That we
Legion.
will.
Okay, so as we get going here on the stream side, if any audio things are off, please let me know, people in chat. Because we are streaming this one live, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening later. We're over at twitch.tv/MrWartburg every now and then. Maybe our guest episodes. I don't know if it'll be in every podcast thing. We're going to try to stream these so people in their various communities can come hang out and see what's going on in the podcast. Because sometimes the guest episodes we're going to record out of order, since I try to go more evergreen topics that don't need to be so timely, like the Loki finale that we're recording later.
No spoilers, please.
Yeah. No
Not
spoilers.
right now.
No spoilers.
You better jump out as soon as we wrap up with Mass Effect. You need to leave.
Yeah, I'm just gonna run.
Because we're gonna go spoiler heavy here.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's gonna get dense. Because I called
Okay.
like literally half the finale, and I'm very happy with myself right now.
He's very happy. He's gloating.
Yeah, and oh man, if it had been a series finale, I feel like I would have nailed more. But that's behind the that's later. That's for later. So let's get right into it. So we've gone through our introductions. Of course, if anyone watches this and don't know who Crofteria is, go check her out. It's Croft, like Lara Croft, ERA. She's a fantastic streamer and also a pretty solid Twitter follow. So I would definitely go check her out. She's just a pretty awesome content creator, and she loves Mass Effect. So
Yes. Very much.
So speaking of Mass Effect, let's get right into it. And because we're there, hang on.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
I should
gearing
get my
up
helmet.
today. Ooh,
Yeah,
boy.
I was wondering if you were gonna wear the helmet at some point. But
It's too warm. It's
yeah,
too warm.
you were saying it's pretty hot. And I was so mad. I got the notification my Garrus statue shipped, and it's not here.
Man, I'm so jealous.
Fuck, I was
So
hoping it would be
jealous.
here by Saturday so I can open it on the podcast.
Is it
Yeah.
post? Wait. Is it post ME2?
It's
Garrus?
from his
Battlescar Garrus.
No, it's from the recruitment mission where he's going over the ledge with the sniper rifle.
As
Okay.
Archangel.
Yeah, the Archangel.
I wanted it so bad, but I couldn't afford it at the time, and then
Yeah.
it just sold out.
I
It's like,
couldn't get
no!
the wave 2 of the legendary cache. So I got the statue and I pre-ordered the light up Omni Blade, which is gonna be pretty dope. It's all gonna be on my. You can see on my Mass Effect stuff back there. Got the Nomad right there, and I've got my Mass Effect wood burnings, which I've got more in the pipeline to do for myself for once instead of giving them all away. But that's gonna be a good time. And of course, had to get the hat. All right, so Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Where are you at in the Legendary Edition, Crofteria?
That's a good question. I have recruited all of my teammates in the second game, and now
Okay.
I'm just doing all of the loyalty missions. So
Yeah.
taking my sweet time, but kind of have to.
Yeah,
I don't know. Are spoilers allowed? Because
it's
well, I guess
an
if I say you
11-year-old
have
game.
to,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
old, so yeah.
I guess everyone knows, like, if you play Mass Effect before, and it's like you have to get close to all of your crewmates, otherwise things are not going to go very well. So I'm just taking my time to do all of that.
So what have your
Yeah.
thoughts been thus far? I know, of course, Mass Effect 1 got the bulk of the work on the actual remaster side. Mass Effect 2 and 3 were more quality of life bug fixes and a port. So what have been your thoughts thus far on playing through it compared to what you remember of your original runs?
It's prettier, that's for sure. But I don't know, the controls in the second game especially have always been very clunky to me. So I feel like I don't feel like it was improved enough in the second game, but that could just be me. The first game was fine, but I always thought that the first game was combat-wise probably one of the best ones. But I feel like that's kind of an unpopular opinion.
I would
Most people
say,
don't agree with
in
me.
terms of mechanics, it's different, but it was smoother.
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
beyond the cover system was a little wonky, especially if your controller stick happens to
Yeah.
drift. Sticking in cover was harder because it wasn't
Yeah.
on the face buttons; it was on the stick. But generally, it was a smoother combat experience. And of course, you're playing on PC, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have a little more finer control than on like the console version, which is more prone to that like controller go exactly where I want you to go kind of thing instead of point and click. Um, so speaking of the trilogy, your original runs, let's go through just some basic questions about your Mass Effect experience and where you're at on like what you enjoy the most out of it. Of the original trilogy, because I'm imagining you would say Andromeda is below them. Most fans would. Uh,
Yeah. Haven't
what
even played it yet.
of the original trilogy? What's your favorite game?
2.
Okay. Now, Fusion, since you're our co-host, I guess I should probably ask you the same question. Have you played the
Sure.
trilogy, right?
Yeah, I am. I just kicked off the loyalty mission for Miranda at this point. So yeah, kind of is. Would you consider that pretty close to dead center in all three? I'm very close to kind of
Yeah,
in the
that's
middle at
like
this
those
point.
unlock after Horizon, and then there's really only like 3 or
Yep,
4 loyalty missions you can do, and then it's collector ship,
collector. Yep. So
and then the game
let's just
really
say,
like becomes. That's where
yeah.
I have some issues with Mass Effect 2. Is this
Okay.
all the side quests?
So I agree with Crofteria in that the combat in two was a bit of an issue for me. I mean, but playing that on PC, it takes a little bit of the headache away when you're rocking a keyboard mouse. I'll be honest with you. One is gorgeous, like just the graphics they've done for one. The Citadel just looks beautiful to me, like just beautiful. Like the back shots are amazing. Um, One thing I did notice, I think I mentioned this a few weeks back when it first came out, and just kind of in passing. I didn't realize how many cinematics are in the Citadel at the very beginning of that
It's a
game
lot.
because I'm just like, holy shit. I look at my clock, I'm like 4 hours in playing, and I'm like, I still haven't left the Citadel yet, man. Jesus. All right. Once you get past that, it's a good game. It's really good. Mass Effect 2 was great for me because just the being able to explore the other worlds, running drones just scanning planets. Like I'm not kidding. I spent hours, like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm just sitting there scanning planets for resources just because I have to take every bit of element I can find and take it. And so I can sell it, upgrade the ship, do whatever I got to do for I enjoyed two the most. I think the character development though in one was really good because when I really like this list that we're talking about doing here, when I break it down for me, a lot of the characters that bleed all the way from 1 to 3, a lot of them are ranked really like higher for me because I think the character development was great in 1. I think it felt a little rushed for some of the characters in 3, but the graphics are amazing, and with the Legendary Edition in 1, really happy about what they did. Really, yeah. So I'm probably going to be in 2 for a little while longer just because that was the longest play for me. And then 3, I just kind of was like, okay, just blow through. There were some characters with their stories. I was like, yeah, do I really want to do the loyalty missions for these people? Like they're kind of they're not really settling in with me like 1 and 2 did.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. Now, for me, having played through them all in the Legendary Edition, um, and then I'm redoing an Insanity run right now on Mass Effect 2 because I never beat it on Insanity. I beat 1 mostly because of the cheese. Do you know about the glitch in that? So you can
Not
the
sure.
final autosave. If you load that up before you go fight Saren, like it's where you're outside the Citadel and you go through the hatch to get into the Citadel to fight Saren for the final time. If you save again, this game will let you. You save again right before you go kill Saren, then start a new game off that save file, then reload that save or switch it to Insanity and then reload the save and put it back to Insanity. The game thinks you did Insanity the whole time. so you can cheese it in like 25 minutes. It's awesome.
Hmm.
So
Interesting.
Okay.
I cheesed Mass Effect 1, and initially on the launch you could do that for both games and just get the achievement 3 times. They patched that, so I have to actually play Mass Effect 2 and 3 on Insanity. And my god, Mass Effect 2 is so fucking hard on Insanity. It's like they decided, hey, let's do Lasso, but then like no other modifiers. It's just that fucking hard. Mass Effect 3 is a lot easier because you can spec Garrus to basically be a Krogan with a sniper, and it's awesome. Like he can hit how he can use the Typhoon, which is like the heavy machine gun with like explosive bullets, and just rinse shit in Insanity. Like he never gets touched. It's awesome. Mass Effect 2 is very hard. I've already died 29 times, and I'm not even to the collector ship.
Ooh.
Oh, I should have 30. There was a clip. I'll put it in the chat later. But there's a clip. I don't know how in the hell I didn't die, but I'm like stuck on a crate. There's an Emir mech just shooting me, and I don't die. Like I should be dead, but I'm not. Crazy. But for me, actually, my favorite, I'd have to say Mass Effect 3 might actually be taking over the top spot for me. Just because of that, those quality of life improvements they managed to eke out in, and accounting for a little bit of a bump for they made that game in like 19 months.
Yeah.
Fucking insane for how much is in that game, because it's dense. Like there's a lot of shit in that game. If you really go through all the side quests and get all the war assets, there's a lot. It's like a 50-hour playthrough just to get everything done in one run. It's a lot. And yeah, the ending kind of sucks, but I really feel like if they had another 6 months, they would have nailed an ending. And that's more on the EA side than it is the BioWare side.
Yeah.
So I won't really hammer them too much for that because we also get the Citadel DLC, which is fucking awesome. Oh my god, every time I play that, I find something new and I laugh my ass off. It's just perfect fucking fan service done exactly the right way. I love it. But yeah, it's like just enough above 2 for me this last playthrough because man, it is so much more fun to play. The gameplay is better. You can sprint unlimited. You can actually have an action roll, like to like use like cover more effectively, like move between cover. It's so much smoother of a game that for me it takes over the top spot just barely. Plus, Garrus is like super central to the plot, so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he says more things than I'm in the middle of calibrations in Mass Effect 2.
Yeah, that's probably my biggest problem with Mass Effect 2.
Yeah.
You want to talk to him all the time, or at least I
Because
do.
I mean, the team is huge. It's how many guys? It's like 10, 11 people.
10. Yep.
It's massive.
Something like that. Yeah.
Whereas in 1 and 3, you get more individual dialogue because the team is smaller.
Yeah.
So, and of course, by 3, then you've gotten to know, except for like one of the characters, you've gotten to know them for multiple games now. Pretty awesome. Okay, so 2 more questions about Mass Effect Trilogy before we get into the big topic. So, Crofteria, what is your favorite like moment in Mass Effect? Could be a single line, could be a specific quest, a character moment. What is your favorite like snapshot of Mass Effect?
Oh boy, everything with Garrus. Can I? Do I?
I mean, it's a cheat, but I'll allow it. It's Garrus.
I really like his introduction in the second game, especially if you play for the first time and you don't know what's coming. You have no idea that he's Archangel, and then he just shows up as like, oh my god, it's him, he's back.
I agree.
I love that moment.
That opening, if you go from getting the Normandy to right to getting Garrus,
Yeah.
what a 1-2 punch of nostalgia and just pure badassery. Fantastic.
I love it. It's so good.
So, Fusion, same question.
Oh man, you're putting me on the spot because earlier this morning I was just like sifting through a few things and there was a quote from Rex in 1 and it had to do with the genophage and I can't remember it now. I'll have to think back. And I think it was a conversation that you had when Garrus was present. So I'll have to think back on it. But it was really just
the
Rex
elevator
had some
conversation?
Yeah, the elevator conversation where he just like drops a truth bomb, just basically just matter of factly, like, to hell with you, like this is what we have to go through. I can't remember the words now. I'll have to think about it, man. But
yeah,
I was thinking about it earlier.
Being like, careful kid, you might have to get out there and actually learn something.
I think that was it. Yeah. That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just like just how he has, and he's he was one of my favorite characters, Rex. But then again, I also liked Grunt. But yeah, that the elevator conversation, there was a quote in there, and it just I remember just thinking, damn, hey, this dude's hardcore, right?
Yeah, he has seen some shit.
Yeah, exactly.
For me, one of my favorite moments, I made a thread when I went through my initial playthrough of like I just captured a bunch of screenshots and like Xbox clips. Thankfully, since it's pretty easy and I didn't have to run any OBS stuff. But there was a few like renegade lines because I play FemShep, and the way she basically created two separate characters, whereas like Mark Mear's Broshep is a little closer to the dead center on each, because he wanted it to be like you could play Paragade pretty easily. Whereas you play FemShep, you're probably going to be one or the other, minus a few interrupts that everybody does, like hitting the guy with the wrench. You know, like you're working too hard and you stab him with the wrench and he dies. Gets like tased with it, or pushing the Eclipse Merc out the window.
Okay.
But my favorite line was when you go to recruit Jack in Mass Effect 2, and they're like, "We need you to relinquish your weapons." And then if you pick the Renegade line, everyone pulls their gun, and Shepard says, "I'll relinquish one bullet. Where do you want it?" Like, fucking badass line delivered by Jennifer Hale, and it was one of my favorite lines in the trilogy. And then, of course, the joke line is the big stupid jellyfish line. Awesome line. And she fucking nails it. Both of them do. Both the ways they both say it, fantastic. You can't help but laugh at it. It's awesome. I love it. That and Rex's in the Citadel DLC. Like, this is why I love hanging out with you guys. Why shoot something once when you can shoot it 46 more times? And perfectly encapsulates Mass Effect. Love it. All right, last question. And this one may get a little heavier. Who's your favorite NPC?
Oh boy. Aside from companions, I suppose you mean.
Yeah, because we're going to do companions in and of themselves.
Are we...
and none of the NPCs are on the list. So we're talking like Hackett, Anderson, Elusive Man, Conrad Werner, Liara's dad /
Definitely
mom.
not Conrad Werner.
Would a pissed off Ashley Williams in ME2
I would say that's part of her story as a companion, because she becomes a companion later.
I know later, but I meant like at that point where you run into her.
She doesn't count as an NPC or Caden in ME2. They don't count.
Okay.
No one who was at one point a companion counts.
I like Emily Wong a lot. I don't know. She's the one reporter I can stand.
I was very bummed we didn't get her in Mass Effect 3.
Yeah.
That was a little weird, wasn't it?
I think that was a rush timeline thing.
Yeah.
I also do love... Oh, sorry, did I interrupt you? Did you want to speak? Okay. I love the guy in the first game when you go to what's the first colony called? The very beginning of it. Yes. The guy who went off to take a nap and he just managed to survive everything. I just love him. It's so funny.
Yeah.
It's like, that's me. That would be me. He's great.
Fusion, you need more time to think?
I'm thinking here. Give me a sec.
One of my favorite NPCs, and it's kind of cheating because he's so heavy in the story in Mass Effect 3. But while everyone, Keith David's, Admiral Anderson's fucking awesome. Like, he's like basically the best space dad. I gotta go Stephen Hackett, Admiral Hackett. Because it's Lance Henriksen, whose voice is just perfect for that kind of military hard ass, but like also still a good guy kind of voice. Like, and it's weird because he's been a lot of bad guys. Like, he plays a lot of sci-fi bad guys sometimes. But how he just like, it gives no fucks. And it's like, if whatever Shepard says goes, is awesome, and I love it. Like, this dude is like the head of humanity after a certain point in Mass Effect 3, and he's just like, "Hey Shepard, whatever you need, you got it." And he delivers. It's awesome. Great character.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I got to go with Keith David just because I'm a big fan of his, man. I like a lot of the productions he's been in. He's the Halo series. You think about that, and really, honestly, my favorite role he's ever been in is Something About Mary.
I was gonna say Gargoyles.
Gargoyles is actually, he's just got this iconic voice when you really look at the productions he's been in. And then I remember when I replayed 1, I just remember just hearing his voice again and how, like, thinking back, like, okay, this guy is very underrated in terms of just the productions he's been in. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the
And I love that he just still does so much sci-fi stuff. As big as he is, he's still doing all the sci-fi stuff. Him, Carl Lumley, and the guy that plays Carl Weathers, they need to do something together, and it would just be an awesome voice-off. It'd be fantastic.
Carl Weathers, man, it's good to see him revitalize his career with The Mandalorian. Very happy about that.
And then, of course, Carl Lumley, Falcon and Winter Soldier, like his Isaiah Bradley, just fantastic.
He was brilliant in that.
You know, like honestly, I was surprised he didn't get a nomination for anything, and then fucking Don Cheadle does for 90 seconds of being in the show. Gets an Emmy nomination.
Yeah.
All right, so time to straighten up the hat because it's time to get into the big topic.
Let's go.
We're gonna rank the Mass Effect characters, ladies and gentlemen. Switching the scene to the tier list. Everybody got the tier ranker pulled up?
Yes.
Okay, so we've got our 5 tiers here. We got your S tier, A, B, C, D. I believe it's... How many characters is it? Sorry, my mouse got stuck on something. Too much junk on my desk when you do wood burnings. 3, 4, 5...
19 characters, I believe.
19, okay. So we've got 19 characters to get through. What are we at for time? Recording? What's the recording time? Stream Live is just 25 minutes. We got plenty of time. Okay, so how do we want to do this? Do we want to do descending order, top down, or ascending order, bottom up? This is going to be
Let the guest. Why don't we let the guest decide?
Yeah, let's let the guest decide. I have a feeling where one is going to go for sure.
Oh yeah, I was just thinking we could do like character order the way they.
Oh, do it is in order on the ranker.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that works for me. That's easy enough. So everyone watching, this is going to be a collaborative effort. We're going to have like a podcast ranking. So we're going to debate each character if debate needs to happen on a few of the middle tier characters. I'm sure it will. And then that'll be our actual like WAFER Mass Effect podcast ranking. It's going to be pretty awesome. So let's start with Thane. So where would you guys put Thane? Just whoever wants to start, go ahead and start. I'll wait since I'm the host.
I love Thane. He's great. That's it. That's all I have to say. He's great.
Okay.
I don't know. I think I personally would put him on A because he is one of my favorites, but I can't put anyone aside from Garrus on S. I can't.
Okay,
So
no.
A for me,
Before
I think.
so we'll put him here for now. One other thing to talk about too is like our criteria. Like, are we talking like character story? Are we talking using them in gameplay? Like, I never really use Thane because I don't. If I need warp, I'm just going to use Miranda because she also has overload. You know, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Are we talking like relationship, like what the relationship story is, like if you do the romance option, or is it kind of an all-encompassing criteria?
I think it should be a balance of all of it, honestly, because
Yeah.
like for me, how I base it off of is less about the gameplay and more about the character's story.
Okay.
That's how I felt for me. Like when I'm, because when you play the first game, I'll be honest. When I played the first game, my first playthrough, I just kind of shot through it, and then I went back and replayed it, and then I really got involved and paid attention to the character stories, and that's when I really became attached to some of these characters. So yeah, I say for me, it's gonna be more of the character's arc within the Mass Effect saga.
That makes sense. I agree with that. So yeah, that'll be the priority, and then I would say for me, my tiebreaker is gonna be the gameplay. Like, who would I need to use as how I play the game? Because I play soldier,
that's fair.
So I can just shred shit with adrenaline rush. I really don't have to care that much about energy powers, except for overload, because it's super overpowered in Mass Effect 3. Man, you can just fucking explode shit with biotic combat, like in tech powers. God, I love that. Tech combos and biotic combos in Mass Effect 3. So good. Okay, so Thane, going in the A tier, I think that's pretty universal. Thane is awesome, especially if you do the romance with Thane as Femshep.
Oh yeah.
It is like super tragic.
I'm gonna go very heavy on the storylines for each character, I think.
That, of course, he gets the big hero moment and is the reason we get to hate Kai Lang so much, beyond him just being a bullshit character. Motherfucker killed Thane. But he's gotta die. Sorry, Troy Baker. He's gotta die.
Yeah.
I appreciate that Troy Baker also hates that character. It's like one of the worst characters I've ever voiced. It was such bullshit. Okay, so next up, we've got the boy. We've got Garrus. I would say universally.
I think universally we know where this one's going, right?
Yeah.
Interesting connection. So last night I was watching Justified. His voice actor was in an episode in season 1 as a total asshole and gets his teeth ripped out by a dentist. It's awesome.
I think I might have seen that actually.
It's just the intro. That's all he's in.
Sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a great episode. But that's just because I love Justified so much. I had to bring it up. If they ever make a Mass Effect thing, Timothy Oliphant needs to be something in that universe.
Right.
So he needs to be in every universe. That's it.
Oh, he's in Star Wars.
He can be old Zaid. I don't care.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So it's pretty universal. Everybody loves Garrus. He's space bro / space husband for literally everyone.
Oh, yes.
No arguments there. So now we've got our first of the two Krogan. We got our boy Grunt. Where are we coming down on Grunt?
I'll jump in here. I like Grunt. I'm gonna put him in B class because not quite A because these Krogans. I can't have my line dominated by Krogans, guys. It's gonna look awkward. But I actually grew to like this. I grew to like him throughout when you start doing the whole loyalty mission. Yeah. When I really think about it, I really like not simpleton's not the way to put it, but just very straightforward, not as brutally honest as Rex, but also, yeah, I really one of my favorite characters. So yeah, I'm putting him.
He's a child that's like the deadliest child in the
Yes,
universe.
the deadly child in the
Yeah.
universe. Yeah, it's a good. It's a good way of putting it. But for me, I think like when you compare him and Thane's stories, there's so much more depth with Thane. Where there could have been a little bit more with Grant. So for me, he's a B.
I like Grunt a lot, but I like all of the characters, so that doesn't mean much. But I don't know. He's I really like Rex, but I miss Rex a lot. So as a substitute, I don't want to call it that because that feels so mean to Grunt, but he's great in his own right. He is baby, but
Yeah. He's Shepard's
like
kid.
you said, he's just
Yeah.
exactly. So I can't put him lower than B. Definitely. Yeah, I think B.
I agree. I think that
Me as
makes the
well.
most sense. And like Fusion, you
Yeah.
were saying, I think by design, Grunt is like the shallower character because he is only
Yeah.
like literally a day old when you meet him.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like in terms
exactly.
of conscious chronology, he's really only been like a day or two old by the time you
Yep.
start talking to him. And so his personality is still forming. And then when you meet him in Mass Effect 3, like he's like the alpha Krogan, like he's leading their most distinguished military commando units. And assuming he lives or dies, his last stand moment is fantastic. And I love that they actually included the Arlac Company soundtrack on the extended cut of the OST. I just found that on Spotify randomly. I can't. Some of those tracks, I'm like, why isn't this on the actual OST on Spotify? This is stupid. Because Arlac Company is a great musical score. Like that music where he's like just taking out the Rachni. Fantastic. I think we can all agree there. Plus, his moment in the Citadel DLC when you break him out of when he's recounting the story of how he gets broken out of the hospital. Laugh out loud, hilarious. Like he's just expecting Shepard like to be the parent and come bail him out, and you either can or like cover for him, or just be like, no, apologize, like a parent scolding a child. It's great. I love that storyline. All right, so now we're back to Mass Effect, an original Mass Effect 1 character. We've got Liara T'Soni.
Kind of mixed. I like Liara, like any other companion. I like them all, but she was never really one of my favorites. I don't know. I think also part of it now that I'm replaying or playing the Legendary Edition, she comes off very strong. It's like, oh, you're into me, aren't you? And it's like, no, I'm not. It's the same with Caden. It's just like everyone on the ship is just like, oh, so you have something with Caden or you have something with Liara, and it just makes me so annoyed because Garrus is right there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe a C for her actually.
That's
I'm gonna
a
have to.
bold choice.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
I
have to agree though.
Damn. Well, I'm outvoted.
Yeah. But I mean, I think I agree with Crofteria here. I just think that there just seemed to be a level of I guess passive overconfidence. I don't know what the best way to describe this is.
Well,
But
she
with her
isn't a
character.
sorry.
Yeah, yes, and I get that, but I just of all the characters for me, whenever when I would go back and go through the dialogue, I just didn't find the depth there that some of these other characters, like especially who's coming up next for me, and there's a whole side with that, but yeah, I would say C as well.
Okay. I would say I think if more of us played male Shep, I think there's Fusion. What do you play, male or female?
I play both, but I mean, my first two run throughs in 1 and 2 were male Shep, And then recently, I'm like, this is the first time I'm going through one and basically going all the way through with femship.
Okay. Well, I'm curious to see your thoughts when that's like all the way done.
Okay.
But
Sure.
I do think if you're a male ship and you romance Liara, it's probably a little higher because she has a lot more content if you do the romance option.
Sure.
But like in Mass Effect 1, like the how it's structured and that you can get her in literally any order really hampers her dialogue option because they have to plan for you getting her first, second, third mission, or fourth mission, and she's completely fucking batshit crazy if you do that. Like totally out of it, is like basically like on drugs to be like just like to help her mind because she's been trapped in this bubble for God knows how long without food or water or whatever, and then you can get her last, and she's basically useless as a character. They have to plan for all that mechanics wise, so they can really only give her so much in Mass Effect 1, which definitely does hurt her later on because you don't really get to know the character, and she's very different in Mass Effect 2 and 3. But Singularity is pretty damn fucking awesome of a power, so that's why I would have put her B, but I can see her at C. Okay, moving on, we've got Jack, Subject 0.
That is cool.
I'm gonna jump in here and say this, guys. I put her at S, man, just because. Look, you give me punk rock in space, I'm all for it, man. Like, this is the one where, all joking aside about I can make sexual jokes about this, like her, just the character, But for me, when you start the romance into it, it opens up a whole new world for her and her conversation with Shep about her backstory, and it gets very deep, which is really good. But at the same time, someone that just has that I don't give a shit attitude it's always fun to have that. It's like Rex, but with a little more personality is basically how I see it.
And she does have the great line, like, so fuck you, and thanks for asking.
So fuck you. And thanks for asking. Yeah. So she's an S for me, just because I, like, fuck yeah, let's go punk rock here.
Okay, all right.
She's an A for me. Like I said, I can't really put anyone at S other than Garrus, but I like her a lot. Like I said, I will say that about every single character. She's really badass, and I love that.
Okay.
So
we got an S and an A. I was gonna say B. So how do we resolve that? Do we go middle of the road and put her at A?
A is right in the middle.
I say A then. Let's just meet halfway.
We'll put her at A. All right. Okay, so now we've got the one character, maybe one of two characters. I don't think anybody really gives a shit about. Not hates, but just doesn't give a shit about. For me, at least. And that's Jacob Taylor.
Fine.
What, are you a Jacob stan?
Not stan, but I remember, I haven't really talked to him much in my Legendary playthrough, but I remember the original, it was like, I like him. He's nice. He's a bit of a Cerberus, I don't know, fanboy, but when he overcomes that, that's when I'm like, okay, you're good. I like you. I don't know, I probably won't put him higher than a B, though, because he's not...
But how wrapped up were you in his loyalty mission?
Yeah, that's true.
He has a fantastic loyalty mission in terms of a sci-fi story. Like as a standalone, damn, somebody could make like that's basically an episode of like Star Trek or something, right?
Yes,
there.
it is.
It's awesome, like hardcore, like old school sci-fi. Loved it. And the rest of his storyline's kind of. Oh, you whine a lot about the Alliance and about Cerberus, and yet you salute me, a commander in the Alliance. You're a weird character, Jacob Taylor. And you hate Thane.
Yep.
A C might be better for him, actually.
Yeah, it really.
He's a cool character, but I'm not that emotionally invested in his story or anything like that. So I think C.
I'd put him there too.
Okay, I'll give him a little bit of pity points. I'll put him at a C.
Are you gonna put him at D?
I have no problem at D, just because he was just a character. I'll be honest with you.
And I never once used him after the intro.
I used him like when I created dialogue and I'm like, oh great, he has a loyalty mission. Shit. And we do the loyalty mission. After that, I'm just like, yeah, walking around. Who am I going to talk with? Just not really feeling Jacob Taylor over here. Just going to let him just do his own thing, And I never really had him on my squad for these missions. And I very rarely did. I think I had him once because I was like, I haven't used Jacob in a while. You might want to get out of the Normandy. All right. Take him.
Okay. All right. So now we're moving on to the another character where we only get to really use the one game. And that is James Vega, who gets a little points for me because of who his voice actor is.
Yes. Absolutely. His voice actor is great.
Yeah.
And voices Iron Bull
Yeah.
in Dragon
James
Age
James
Inquisition,
Vega
which is
walked so
important.
Iron Bull could run.
Yeah,
Just gonna say it.
absolutely. Absolutely. Um, probably A. I remember really liking him.
Really?
Yeah, I remember really liking
Do
him.
you,
I don't know. I
do you
think
do
it
the
was just
flirt options, or are you more hardcore strict with him?
it was a long time ago since I played 3, but I'm pretty sure I did the flirt options. Even though Garrus was there, but sometimes you have to experiment.
Yeah.
No, he's funny. He's funny. I remember him being really funny. I think that was the main point about him that I'm like, yes.
I agree. His party
I-
banter is top notch.
yeah.
Like when you ask him to do the tech jobs, and he just like really, I'm a soldier. And then when there's an AA gun where you have to take out the AA guns, and you can tell James break the console, and he literally just kicks it to death. He's like, "Hey, I fixed it. It's down." Like,
Yeah.
I love that kind of like party companion writing that happened in Mass Effect 3. Just another reason I like the game so much. But yeah, I can see him there. I have a different vote, but I'm gonna let Fusion take it next.
I put him at a C. Wasn't a big fan. I think mostly because I don't know, Crofteria, how much you played the old GTA's, but Warburg will get this. He reminds me of Packy. I don't know why, but he reminds me of Packy in the game. The guy that was all pumped up on steroids, that was
Oh
loud and
shit!
crazy.
Yeah.
He reminds me of Packy at times, just like, and that's just like, do I need a bruh in space? Like, do I need a bro, like a frat bruh in space? Do I really need that? And I wasn't as engaged with him, but I mean, considered where he jumped in on the story, very late at the end of the game. So, but wasn't I'm not gonna give him a D, but at the same time, I would probably say like a C maybe.
Okay. See, my vote was gonna be middle of the road B, so I think we'll put him
Okay.
there.
Okay.
Yeah.
But some valid points. Like he is that kind of like, hey, new character, you need to explain things to. That way, if
Yeah.
you start with Mass Effect 3, you can get some introduction dialogue that you wouldn't get with the other characters that have been around more in universe.
Yep.
That in his movie was, man, that was weird. Like that was the style you decided to go with for the art style,
Yeah.
and you broke the universe. Like, how the fuck were harvesters there? Because those are from reapers only, not collectors. Like, that doesn't make any sense. There's a lot of things in that, like, I can't remember the name of it, but it's like, this doesn't work in universe. Why did you decide to do it this way? So weird. Okay, moving on. We've got another Mass Effect 3 only character, the last Prothean, the Avatar of Vengeance, Javik, who was shockingly a day one DLC and definitely shouldn't have been. Way to go, EA.
For me, I did not play the DLC when I played the original. Just because I was very young, so I couldn't really get them. So this is actually a first time for me in
Ooh.
the
Oh.
legendary. I did watch playthroughs back in the day, but that was a very long time ago, so I have barely any memory of the DLC characters. So for those characters, I'm probably gonna have to be like very neutral.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I don't know. It's hard for me to
Okay.
rate them, I think.
I will say, since you never played it, any mission that has a Reaper that you remember that has a Reaper in the mission where you're gonna kill the Reaper, take Javik if you can.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And
Okay.
take him to Thessia. He has so much extra companion dialogue. Like literally, he's baked into the plot, and they just ripped him out last minute. So
Yeah.
use him, talk to him as much as you can. He's got some amazing dialogue on the Normandy, where like you can like, get a whole lot of backstory about the Protheans as a race, and it really upends a lot of the universe in very interesting ways. So he's a fantastic character that God, I can't believe he was ripped out. That's right up there with Bethesda Horse Armor. Like this was a terrible DLC idea for very different reasons, because it adds so much to the game and should have been in launch. So crazy. So Fusion, where do you come down on Javik?
I'm gonna give him a B, man. I like, for me, him having all of the information, like being that basically your backstory to the mythos of things. I enjoyed the dialogue like you did. I enjoyed it. Um, wasn't I did I use him quite a bit? No, I didn't. But yeah, uh, talking with him on the ship, I thought he was a good character. I would have liked I would have liked to see him more, and I probably now that I'm going through when I go through ME3, I should probably think differently on how to handle him. I'll be honest with you. You know?
Yeah, I followed a few like, hey, take these companions guides because they have
Yeah.
more dialogue just because of the
Yeah.
story. And I really got a lot more out of this Mass Effect 3 playthrough doing
Did
that.
someone ever create one of those weird kind of like dialogue maps that just shows you where to go, like with characters? Because I've seen them with some other games in the past where it shows you
I haven't
like
seen any of those. I just had
where you
like
could
it
open
was
up
like a
dialogue
listicle
trees.
on PC Gamer Mag, I
Okay.
think.
Okay.
But it definitely added a lot to my playthrough because I would normally just run Garrus and Liara because Singularity and Garrus.
Yeah.
Like that was mostly how I would run Mass Effect 3. And if I needed Incinerate, take Edie, because she can blow shit up. So yeah, you said what
I
did you
said
say?
B.
B?
B. What about you?
I would, yeah, I'm gonna agree. I'd say B because I literally never use Javik except for the story-specific missions that are like great to
Sure.
have him on. But yeah, on the Normandy, on the Citadel, when you talk to him, it's just some of the best work, but that BioWare did with characters in Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Got that to look forward to.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm very jealous. You get to experience all that for the first time.
First
It's like
time,
it's
yeah.
experiencing part of
Yeah,
the game
pretty
that you've
much.
never played before.
Yes.
Ah, crazy.
Exciting.
All right, so now we're back to an original Mass Effect 1 character. I guess at the time he was was he a lieutenant? Caden
I think
Alenko,
Lieutenant.
who becomes a
Yeah.
major, who outranks Shepard at the end of the series.
And becomes a Spectre. Well, I think
One of the two who can become a
one
Spectre.
of the two. Yeah.
Yeah. So Caden Alenko, where do we come down on Caden? Me personally, I'll take the lead on this one. Caden has so much more in Mass Effect 3 compared to Ashley. It's almost every time I play now, I have to keep Caden alive, whether or not my femship is romancing him. Because he's just so much more a part of the game in 3. Like he has like all these biotic students. He's more involved in the Citadel DLC. And it's kind of stupid to take Ashley in my opinion because she has one conversation on the Normandy and she gets drunk and passes out on the floor. And in Mass Effect 3 with Caden, you get like half the game with him and he's got like something to say after every mission. Pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
And he's the only like Sentinel who has got Reeve as a power, which is dope in Mass Effect 3. He's the only character with it. It's a great character to have on the mechanics side. And I think in universe he makes more sense to keep alive because he's an officer. He's a lieutenant who becomes a commander in 2 and then a major in 3. Makes way more in universe sense for him to become a Spectre. He's like the most powerful human biotic beyond maybe Jack. And he's been a soldier in the Alliance for 15, 20 years by then, or like 10 to 15 years. It just makes way more sense for him to ascend to that level than Ashley does. And he's not a space racist. So
Exactly.
he wins. I would say though, because of how bland he is in 1, I'd put him at a C.
Okay.
But he gets more towards the B tier in 2 and 3.
Now, okay, so I didn't play FemShep in 1, okay? So I didn't get to romance him in 1. So when I meet him as FemShep in 2, because that's how I played it through, because I didn't play 1, the interaction there is very different had you romanced him in 1, right? Like he's broken up, heartbroken, and angry at you, right?
He's more angry at you than it
Yeah.
is the idea of you leaving the Alliance. And like the option if you don't romance him, he's just mad that you joined Cerberus and like
Cerberus,
didn't
yeah.
tell him that you were alive. Whereas if you romanced him, he's more like, like you feel that heartbreak a little more of like, man, he's like actually like sad that you're alive and didn't tell him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because he has a lot of depth in 1, not so much in 2, but then in 3, let's bring him back in full force. So I would say probably a B. I don't have a problem with C, but I think he was a good character. Yeah, I would say
Okay.
B.
We've got a B and a C. Crofteria, where do you come down?
I will definitely put him in C.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not the biggest Caden fan.
Okay.
I romanced him in my very first playthrough, so I remember that whole like heartbreak when he sees you again in the second game and all of that. And I was like, no, I'm so sorry. But just replaying the game now, I can really see how clingy he felt. At least his
Yeah.
femshep. I don't know.
Yeah,
It was just like
it's very in your face in Mass Effect 1.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh, I felt like you gave me signals. It's like, dude, I asked you how you were doing. Come on.
Yeah.
So that alone is just like, Kaden, nah. He's on C for me. He's not that bad, but he's
Yeah.
far from my favorite.
Okay.
I agree.
Yeah.
BioWare has that problem where, like, Jacob's dialogue in Mass Effect 2, if you're not romancing him as Femshep, anytime you ask him how he's doing, it's like Femshep wants to, like, just fuck his brains out right there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's like, no, I just don't want to be an asshole to him. Like, that's
Yeah.
it. Yeah. It's very odd. And again, Mass Effect 1, just the mechanics of how you could recruit certain characters meant the romance triggers were very sudden, like on a dime. Like you're romancing someone. Just because there was almost too many options. Like it wasn't linear enough that it just didn't work, especially as they were going to throw in Liara as like the default choose between these two.
Yeah.
And then her triggers being so varied, you could recruit her in a lot of different orders. Really throws off the cadence of Mass Effect 1. So that's another reason I'd put him at C too. It's just because mechanically it doesn't feel as good as 3. And 3 is kind of a dick because of the whole, are you sure you're not working for Cerberus? Constantly. But it's understandable because you did go join a terrorist organization. Kind of understandable, if annoying. Alright, so moving on, we've got a Mass Effect 2 specific character. This one was DLC. We got Kasumi. Was it Goto? Gato.
Goto.
Goto.
So I've seen a little bit of her now. The little I've seen I like, but I still don't know her well enough yet to be able to put like a solid ranking. But for now, I just to be neutral, and from like I said, from the little I've seen, I'll probably put her at B.
Have you
Just
played her
'cause she's-
loyalty mission?
No, not yet.
You're gonna love it.
Not yet. Yeah.
It's basically a heist mission. Like, in like a
Okay.
vein of like, hey, this is an Ocean's movie. You know, like we've got to do all these different tasks and we're gonna do them in sequence
Yeah.
so we can get into the vault. And then shit goes sideways. It's awesome.
Oh boy.
Like
I want to do it now.
that was the kind of DLC mission that was like, oh, I can see where they got some of the ideas they took within Mass Effect 3. It's like it's very tonally a little more similar. And the moment-to-moment gameplay I really enjoyed in that DLC mission once shit kicks off. It's fantastic. I think you're gonna like it.
Yeah.
Fusion, where do you come down on Kasumi?
I'm gonna say C. I just really couldn't. I had high hopes to have a thief, on the squad. I thought it would be interesting. Loyalty mission was fun. I'm not gonna lie, but I never found myself interested in using her after that. Honestly, I was a bit disappointed in the depth. Like I mentioned with Jack, where when you start the romance with Jack, it opens up this whole dialogue tree about her past that goes really in depth to things, and I just didn't find that with her. So
Yeah.
yeah, she was just someone that I really couldn't really like latch onto in terms of like one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, her and Zaid, of course, being DLC characters, are a little hurt.
Yep.
But I
Yep.
actually, on the flip side, like the more. They didn't have specific cutscene dialogues. They would just kind of give you ambient dialogue about what's going on the ship, or their backstory, or like you've recruited a certain character. Like if you talk to Zaid after you get Garrus, he like comments about how badass Archangel was, and he's like not really surprised that it's Garrus,
Yeah.
which I like. And that kind of ambient dialogue, kind of situational dialogue, they really took off with in Mass Effect 3. You got characters roaming around the ship. So I actually really liked that, but there wasn't a lot of it. If it had been a little deeper and more mission specific, I think it would have helped the DLC characters quite a bit. But yeah, of the loyalty missions, Kasumi's is definitely up there. So you said C?
I said C. That was me.
Okay. Yeah, I could see her there because beyond the loyalty mission, and she's got a fun little character bit in Mass Effect 3. She can play into the. Is that the big stupid jellyfish line? Yeah, she's in that mission where you find an indoctrinated Hanar. She's in that mission. And it's very funny if she's in it. If she's not, of course, if she's dead or you never recruited her. And she really kind of adds some flavor there. But I could see her at C. Unless Crofteria has a different vote.
No, C's
Nope.
fine. Like
Alright.
I said, haven't really seen much of her yet. So
Okay.
that
All right.
works.
Now we've got Legion of the Geth. Where are we coming down on Legion?
Oof.
Who, side note, was a very fun wood burning to do. I need to redo that one.
Legion is really cool. Reminds me a little bit of Grunt in that baby sort of way, almost, does that make
Sure.
sense?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
figuring out the world.
Yeah, exactly. Ooh, it's a hard one. I don't know.
Yeah,
A or B, definitely.
those are the tiers I'm at too, because his philosophical
Yeah.
dialogue is
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yes, it is.
And the resolution of his arc, assuming you do the Paragon save both sides, excellent sci-fi arc. Excellent. But I also never really used him in the game. Because if I needed a
I used
sniper,
him
I
a
was
lot.
just going to use Garrus. Because he's Garrus.
I actually used both.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, me too.
I'm gonna say A for me. Legion was A.
Okay.
I loved the dialogue tree. I loved it. I thought it was great. Yeah. For someone, for a Geth character that's basically assimilating just society, and there was a lot of depth there. I was very surprised. So yeah, I say A. It
Okay.
was one of my favorite. I didn't use him all the time, but yeah, when I had sniper, I would split between both of them.
All right, I
Honestly.
can put him at A. I can rock with that. His only downside for me, I think maybe that keeps him from being S tier, is that he's so locked to late game Mass Effect 2.
Yeah.
There's some mods you can get. I'm gonna replay the trilogy on PC eventually once the mod community is a little more built out. Once they have their tools a little bit better built, which I guess BioWare has like been working with the modders for like months prior to release to start building modding tools, which is you love to see that. And to they're starting to port over some of the more impressive Mass Effect original trilogy mods. So once that comes out, I'm going to replay it there. But there are some mods where you can basically get Legion super early in the game without triggering the IFF. Because you take him to Tally's loyalty mission. He's got like 5 scenes where everyone's freaking out that there's a Geth on the flotilla, right? And if you play Renegade, basically there's a line where he's like, Shepard's like, either Legion is on this ship or I take off my mask and cough. Like, it's great. Such a stupid Renegade line that works in universe as a major threat that I will kill you all if Legion isn't allowed on this ship. And he's got some other stuff too, like if you take him to the Citadel, they're like, sir, is that a Geth? He's like, no, this is my personal security mech. And then Legion responds, Geth do not infiltrate. Looks around. Intentionally infiltrate. It's awesome, and it's all locked because he's so late game in vanilla. That kind of sucks because that one was a hardware limitation because of the 360 being a little more underpowered. They couldn't fit it all on one disc.
Yeah.
But there are mods that like recompile it all into being a one seamless thing, and I'm very excited to replay that once all the mods are done. Alright, so we've got the other Mass Effect 1 character that you could choose to live or die in every playthrough of mine. That is Ashley Williams.
Yep. Goodbye, D.
Yeah, like...
That's it.
Yeah, of the characters I was going to put in the D or C, most of the D, I was either Jacob or her.
Yeah.
And
Okay. I feel really bad here. It's embarrassing, but I would put her in C just because she gets bonus points because of my very first playthrough. We were banging, so yeah.
report to the ship. We'll
Yeah,
bang. Okay.
I gotta give her some credit for that. Yeah.
Okay.
But no, honestly, a xenophobe out in space, not a very good look. I don't.
Yeah.
Crofteria. I mean, do you think it was just a bad look for her character in the first game?
Absolutely. That was the moment I was just like, I don't like you.
Was it when she was basically just crapping all over Garrus, or I mean?
I think just in the beginning, just crapping on everyone. She was just like, oh, well, I don't know, working with aliens is not really something I want to do. I don't think
Yeah.
this is good for the mission or whatever. I was just like,
Yeah,
okay,
like
well,
you
you
work
can
in
go home
space,
then.
surrounded
Yeah.
by aliens. And
Exactly.
I mean, like just her Geth, just a lot of the Geth conversation. I really I was interested in wondering, like when I ran into her in 2, like thinking, oh my God, is she gonna like, are her and Legion really gonna go, like, are they gonna fight? Because I mean, she has it in for the Geth, obviously, but yeah, I like I said, a D character, a xenophobe in space is just odd. But
Yeah.
I give her a few extra bonus points to see because
Yeah, I think we're going to all universally put her there. But I would say if you do the Paragon route, romance or
Yeah.
not, her arc does improve, because she, especially if you have her be the one that you leave on Vermeer. If you've been playing Paragon with her, you get her to like open up to realize, yeah, I was kind of wrong about all the other alien stuff, and then she dies helping save Solarians, and gets like their basically
Yeah.
their Medal of Honor and the Turian Medal of Honor too, like one of the only humans to ever do that. It's a nice fitting bow on her one game arc if you do it that way, and of course she becomes a little bit better of a person in Mass Effect 3, assuming you were the stupid person that let her live, but. Again, she just doesn't have as much content in Mass Effect 3 compared to Kaidan, so it's almost an apples to oranges argument. So keeping it to Mass Effect 1, Kaidan, while wooden and very suddenly horny, is like definitely a better character, just as a person, and more relatable than Ashley is. Even though her arc's interesting, and more impactful, I think, if you let her die.
Yeah.
All right, so she's going there. So next up, we've got Miranda Lawson.
Miranda.
Who's modeled off of one of my favorite actresses, Yvonne Strahovski.
Yvonne Strahovski, yes. She's great.
Could they
Miranda.
at least have left her blonde? Come on.
There's a mod that does it.
But it's just she's a
Yeah.
very beautiful woman. It's like, I know you ported over like basically her entire model, but like, why did we have to change the hair color? Like, why do we have to go there?
Yeah.
Match her outfit better.
Yeah, it would have.
Yeah. Okay, so where are we putting her?
I'm pretty neutral towards her. Sometimes I really dislike her. I think in the beginning also of Mass Effect 2, she's very annoyed at you,
Yeah,
kind
she's
of,
very
for some
arrogant.
reason.
Yes.
But she does get better, and she gets better pretty quick.
Yeah, especially if you
when do
Paragon
a
ride
load
it.
mission. Yeah, so between a B or a C, I think. Not really
Okay.
sure where exactly, but
Okay.
somewhere there, I think.
Gives us a place to go off of. Fusion, what do you got?
I kind of agree with the BC. I would say just jokingly say, hey, she gets a B just because she created the whole ass effect culture. So come on, let's be real. I am disappointed though because Yvonne's a great actress. She really is. Like in Dexter, she was really good. Of course, we know Chuck.
Yeah.
One of our favorite
And she
shows.
was in
She's
Tomorrow
great in
War,
Chuck.
which just came
In
out.
Tomorrow World, yeah. But she was great at Chuck. But I really, the disappointing thing for me was the loyalty mission. I was expecting a lot, like, because very dry, arrogant in the beginning, and then you take the Paragon route. She opens up a little more. When you run the loyalty mission, it really doesn't feel like her character developed anymore after that until the very, very end, where it's like, you know what? Yeah, screw Cerebus. I've been like pitching them the whole time, but I'm done with them. Let's go. Let's go. I'm joining you. I follow your path completely now. Just like a big 180 with no real reason, just a pivot like that. But just not a whole lot of depth in the loyalty mission. I was expecting more, but I would honestly say she's a C character. Joking aside, she's probably a C character for me too.
Okay. So, if you had to pick B or C criteria, where would you go?
Probably C as well.
Okay.
Because as much as I do like her, she's not the person that
I was hoping to get to use a gameplay tiebreaker because I use her on every mission on Insanity because she has Warp and Overload and Slam, which is like 3 god tier powers in Mass Effect 2 on Insanity.
I did use her. I did play with her. She was on my squad quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
That, and you're right. Like, she's one of those characters. End game Mass Effect 2, you have to have her in the final squad because when Elusive Man pops up, if you've got her and you're a Paragon telling Cerberus to fuck off, great ending with her character. Where it's less impactful, of course, if she's not in the party, if she's in one of the squads that you left behind. But yeah, I agree at C. I can see it. Next up, we've got the scientist Solarian, Morton Solis.
Morton Solis.
Yeah. He goes an A for me.
I agree.
Yeah, straight up, he's an A character.
A lovable guy,
damn near S tier for me.
Yeah.
Probably would have been S tier if like somehow he would have been a romanceable character, because that would have given him more dialogue. Because every bit of dialogue with him is fucking gold.
Was he an A and then his death in 3 made him close to an S for you? Is that what?
That moment, assuming you Paragon, you genophage cure, and he dies, and if you talk to him enough in 2, he does the song. I was watching, I think it was Pathos playthrough. His playthrough when Morton died. I was watching it on Twitch. Morton didn't hum the song, and I was like, the fuck did you do, Pathos? How did you not get to that song? And Pathos freaked out too. He's like, I swear I heard that in my playthrough. But he's like, I've played this game so much, I don't know if I heard it or not.
You just did dialogue enough with him in 2,
Yeah,
probably.
it was. Yeah, you have to dialogue enough to get that trigger, but if you do, and like the would have liked to run tests on the seashells, fuck,
Yeah.
just right here, just hits you.
Yeah.
Ah, so impactful.
He is A class, yeah.
Yeah.
He is A.
Absolutely.
I think he's probably
Very
the top
close
of
to
A
S,
tier
though.
for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very top.
Then Thane, then I'd go Jack Legion, kind of 50-50 so
Okay,
far.
Okay.
But I think we're all universally in agreement. Morton is a phenomenal character, and another thing that would have made him S tier if they would have kept the same voice actor.
Yeah, that would have.
His
Yeah.
2 voice actor really hit better for me. Like
Yep.
when in his loyalty mission, when he's breaking down about the genophage cure, you see the cracks start to form. His voice actor fucking nailed it. In 3, his voice actor's great. Especially there's a renegade line. I never do this, but if you play the renegade line with him about the cure and try to stop him, he freaks out and he's like screaming that I made a mistake, I need to fix it, and it's fucking heartbreaking. And then you can reverse course and let him go do it after that line. It's a great line. God, I would have loved to hear it from the original voice actor, who I guess they didn't even ask to come back for Mass Effect 2. Like, the story is, yeah, they just didn't ask him. He was only contracted for the 1 game, so they just brought in somebody else who sounded a little older. In universe, it makes sense given how fast Solarians age. Morton's near the end of his life. Like, he's a pretty elderly Solarian. But still, I would have liked the original voice actor. Just a little bit. Alright, we're coming down the home stretch here. We've got 5 left. Now we've got the Justicar Samara. I'm assuming none of you killed her and went with Morinth, right? Anybody do that for the lulz?
I didn't. No.
Okay.
No.
It's a hilarious scene if you do. Because if you romance Morinth, it's just critical failure, mission's over. Great. Justicar Samara, where are we coming down on her?
B for me. That's a pretty clear one, because I really like her, but she's not Morton level or Garrus level.
Yeah, I agree. I say solid.
Yeah, I
B,
would say she's very Javik level. Like, damn, her dialogue's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like, her backstory with the Asari, the Justicar stories, the fact that she's been researching humanity and is, like, talking about, like, medieval knights and samurai and all that stuff. Very cool, very worldly character that you get. This woman is a stone cold killer.
Yeah.
And she's also a good person. Kind of. Like, it's great. And then her moment in Mass Effect 3 when you go rescue her daughters. If you've been getting all the dialogue with her and you do the Paragon interrupts. Fantastic character resolution. We're putting her a B. I figured we'd have more characters there than anything. But we've got 4 left now. And now, beyond Zaid, we're getting into some, like fan-favorite characters here. We've got Edie up next. Personally, of course, we only get her in the 2 games, but then the revelation in 3 that she's the AI on the moon that you stop in Mass Effect 1. So in retconning, she's been in all 3 games. I gotta put her. I'm at A or B for me, because again, she has that philosophical. What is it to be human? What is it to better yourself? Bridging that organic technological divide, which is very sci-fi, much like Legion, but more relatable as she's close to human in terms of interaction. And she speaks like a human. She doesn't talk in the hey, we as Legion. So I'm debating A or B. Where do you guys come down?
I think I agree. I really like that they took, because AI is it's not a very big topic in the world, but they still bring it up a lot, like, oh, an AI and blah, blah, blah. So the fact that they actually made her into a companion that you could bring along with you and stuff is very interesting. I like that they went that route with it. So A or B, I'm not entirely sure either where to put her.
For me, I'd probably say I'm closer to B, honestly. Just back, back when she came out, it was more of AI. The thought about there were a lot more stories about artificial intelligence, and let's drive characters based off of AI, like discovering the world. But the good thing was it wasn't from an infantile approach to discovering and learning and growing, whereas we felt a little bit more of that with like Grunt, with Legion, So I would say she's a B for me. Yeah. I didn't use her a lot. I'll be honest with you.
For me, she took the Morton role, which is she has Incinerate, and she has Overload. So she will
yeah.
wreck shit if you spec her right. Her and Garrus will fucking destroy anything with shields. And then you can use Adrenaline Rush as a shoulder and just mow them down. It's great. So Crofteria, what was your vote?
A or B.
Okay. I'm also at A or B, so we'll flip a coin. Or we could
Okay.
say Trisha Helfer
You
is
were-
the tiebreaker.
Fuchsia, you were B, right?
You said
So
B.
I guess it would. Yeah.
So do
I
we want to
suppose it
just
would
say B?
land on. I wouldn't mind putting her on just B.
All right, we'll put her on B.
I think B sounds better actually.
Okay, we'll put her on B.
I just because we put Morton in A.
Yeah.
They have to come at least close, and I don't feel like she does.
Yeah, she's like, I would say she's of my B characters. She's towards the top of the Bs.
No, she's
Yeah.
just yeah. Top
Absolutely.
Of the
She's like close
Yeah.
to that line.
Yeah.
She's a B plus
Can you-
character, as we'll say that.
Can you put them in between, or is it not possible?
I could move her to the front. Move Grunt over.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I
We'll
suppose.
move him over. We'll be in order on the tiers too. So Jacob's
Yeah.
going last.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. So we got 3 left. We've got, especially if you're a fan of the romance, we've got the girl Tally.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tally Zora Vas Normandy. Or Vas Rannoch if you save the Corians. Where are we coming down on Tally?
I love Tally. She's an S for me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be real. I love Tally.
Ooh, Damn.
I love Tally.
She's SRA for me. Like,
Yeah.
being in all 3 games as an actual companion, much like Garrus, kind of elevates her above almost anybody else, just
Yep.
for that alone, because so much more dialogue. Her loyalty mission in 2 is phenomenal.
Yes, it is.
You know,
Yeah,
going
it
after her
is.
father and then discovering the body, and like her breaking down about the fact that like basically her whole life is fucked, and then and she still got to like turn around and like basically be an admiral for the Korean people. Great arc. If you play it right, if you reconcile her and Legion, and they're still friends in Mass Effect 3, and then you save both, but Legion still dies. Like her, like, hey, the Legion, the answer to your question was yes, and then his I know, and then he dies. Awesome stuff. Just like some of the best work BioWare did in the whole trilogy. But I'm gonna say A, just so we make Crofteria pick. That's right.
Okay. Okay.
I would put her in A as well.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
No, I just love Talia. Like I
Yeah.
always found myself playing with Garrus and Talia on my missions.
You say Talia?
Because
You mixing
sorry.
Batman with Mass
Tally.
Effect?
Tally. I'm sorry. Yeah, Talia al Ghul. I'm sorry. My bad. I just always found myself adding them on my missions, both of them. I enjoyed having them all.
They do
Yeah,
have
out there.
great Mass Effect 3. They have amazing party banter. It's awesome, especially if you're not and if you're not romancing one or the other, they get together. So that helps too.
Yeah.
Or if you're romancing Garrus, and you take Garrus with you on the Geth Dreadnought, she like fucks with Shepard over the fact that Dr. Michelle sent Garrus Turian chocolate. Oh, it's hilarious. All right, next up, we got the old man himself. We got Rex.
Rex.
Just by
Oh.
default, I want to put him on the A tier because he's the only character in Mass Effect 2 that is genuinely happy to see you. He throws an ambassador out of the way and is like, Shepard! Like, awesome. And then in 3, he's just very baked into the course carrying the Genophage story, assuming he's alive, because you can, like an asshole, kill him in Mass Effect 1.
Yep.
Which you're a crazy person if you do that, because you're cutting yourself off from so much cool content.
Yes, you are.
But yeah, I want to put him on the A tier. Crofteria, where are you at?
He's the only other character I would actually put on S. I
Ooh.
like Rex a
Wow.
lot. Yeah,
Okay.
he's
A
the
and
bro.
S.
He's my space bro. I know that's
Yeah, you
Garrus
got-
for a lot of people.
you got
but
space
since
husband and
Garrus
space
is-
bro.
Yeah, exactly. So he has to be there.
Yeah.
Has to.
And in Mass Effect 3, the Citadel DLC, his battle cry is, like Garrus is scoped and dropped, is Uncle Erdnot has a present for you, and then he charges at them and kills him. Great. I can see him at an S. I'd go A myself, but Fusion, where are you at?
I'm an A. Just the introduction to him in 1, awesome. Just
Right.
the best way to meet him. But yeah, like Space Bro, you gotta have I'm very curious how much a Krogan can drink, how much beer a Krogan can drink, and I'm sure it's a lot. And yeah, you got to have a space bro that wants to kick back and down a few with you. And when I really think about it, it's got to be Rex. Come on, man, it's got to be Rex, right?
All right, I'm gonna call an audible.
All
I'm gonna
right,
go S myself.
all right,
So we
okay,
got
all
2
right,
on the S line.
Yeah. The
Didn't
only two that
didn't
deserve
think it
it.
would happen. All right, and
okay,
lastly, we got
okay.
another DLC character.
Yeah.
This one is one of my favorite DLC characters. Maybe my favorite DLC character, and that's Zaid,
Okay.
who, as Joker says, is like Shepard if Shepard took checks. Um, the reason I like Zaid so much is his loyalty mission, his backstory with founding the Blue Suns and then he's surviving a bullet to the head is very extreme. But then how he talks about it when he's like, how did you survive? Rage is a hell of an anesthetic. Excellent line. And then the resolution where you have to use a Paragon interrupt to keep him loyal, otherwise you'll lose it. Because you can kill Vito or not. He's hilarious when he shows up in Mass Effect 3 because he's trying to hit on Samara in the Citadel DLC. He's just, for me, a really interesting character in that universe where he's like this merc who's been around for so long and is just the best at what he does. Kind of like Mass Effect Wolverine, more or less.
Good one. I like that.
Which I really like. So, Fusion, what do you got on this guy?
I'm gonna put him at, for me, probably he's somewhere between A and B. I'm gonna probably say a B though. Yeah.
That's where I'm
Just
at.
because we look at, like, for me, if I look at just my A's right now, yeah, I think he's probably a B, a high B, but yeah, a B.
I would 100% agree. Now, Crofteria, have you played much of the Zaid stuff?
No. But he does have a very strong introduction, so
He really does.
He sounds good. Yeah.
I would say of the 2 characters that I go and talk to in Mass Effect 2, him and Kasumi, Zaid's ambient dialogue I think is more interesting. If you get through all his stories and just keep pressing A, his stories are great. Like taking down a Turian frigate, him talking about his old rifle that's on the desk, like it's the gun named Jessie, and then in Mass Effect 3 you find out he's trying to fix her to bring her to fight the Reapers. It's awesome. So yeah, he's of the 2 DLC characters in terms of story content beyond the loyalty mission, because Kasumi's is better. I would say Zaid's the better of the 2. So that's more personal preference. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We have our Mass Effect list. On our S tier, we have Garrus and Rex. On the A, we're going Morton, Tali, Thane, Jack, Legion. On B, we have Edie, Grunt, James Vega, Javik, Miranda Lawson, Samara, Zaid. C, we have Liara, Caden, Kasumi, and Jacob Taylor. And D, by herself, we have Ashley Williams.
Poor Ashley.
Yeah.
Poor Ashley.
Yeah.
So, any quibbles with the
good.
list as we have it?
No, I'd say it's fair.
Yeah.
I'd say it's fair.
I think it's pretty good.
I
I do feel a little bit bad that Grunt is so far down, like away from Rex, because I really do like him a lot. But at the same time, B just feels right for him.
So, if anyone's in
only-
chat right now, let us know what you think of the list so far, since this is our first live episode. For me, speaking of Grunt, I'm imagining Mass Effect 4, whatever it is. If Grunt's alive, Grunt's got to be an important character, because if they're doing a time jump, he's a baby Krogan, and Krogan can live like 1,500 years.
Yeah.
Like, it's incredible. And maybe they don't die of old age. They might be like fucking turtles and don't die of old age. Or tortoises. Or like they just don't, once they get to a certain age, they just like stop aging. More or less, they just kind of slow down. Like Drac in Andromeda is like almost 1,500 years old, and he's still going around kicking ass. But plus, he's got a crush on Liara. So like him and Liara getting together, even with the cured genophage, would be a great little character beat. I'd dig that. Any other things that stand out?
Not that I think of. I mean, when I
Yeah,
look at
same.
this, it's a very good. I agree with most of the list. I mean, I think we all agree about Garrus. Garrus is just
He's just that
he's
good.
beloved, man. He's
Yeah.
beloved, man.
He is.
Like if they do if they do a Garrus edition of a new Mass Effect, I'm talking about like a collector's edition cover, that thing will sell like crazy.
I'm really
We'll
hoping someday
definitely
we
get them.
get an actual, like, if they were going to ever do like what Vega got as his introduction movie, I want a movie of Garrus as Archangel.
Yeah,
Like,
that would be a
I
good
want to
story.
see that. Like, you open with him getting frustrated at CSEC or the council if he tries to join the Spectres, because you can play him
Yep.
either way. And then going to Omega, seeing more of that world, get Carrie-Anne Moss back in as Arya for a couple of scenes, and then just have him wrecking shop as Archangel, and then that final mission where everybody dies. You know, like, that'd be a great ending for that story. And then you pick up with the introduction in Mass Effect 2. It'd be a
Now,
hell of a story.
do you straight up CGI and have Keener voice him?
I would make it an animated, you know, do it similar to the cutscenes. Of course, better tech, maybe use Unreal 5 or whatever. But
Yeah.
you know, like, look at what Blur did with Halo 2. Like, that shit looks fucking stunning. Like, no problems putting that on a TV or a movie screen if they're gonna do a limited run like a one of those like fandom events or whatever. Like, that'd be an awesome limited run movie, and I'd buy I'd definitely buy it.
Yeah, me too.
So yeah, I think that wraps it up. We're at almost our usual podcast time too. We're at about an hour 15 right now.
Yeah.
And we usually get to about an hour 10, hour 15. So perfect timing.
Yeah.
I nailed it. Just gonna pat myself on the back.
There you go.
Okay.
I do have one small addition.
Sure. What you got?
To that question you asked in the beginning, what our favorite NPCs was, I completely forgot about Joker until you mentioned him just like 10
Oh,
minutes.
yes.
How
Oh
did
my
we
God.
forget about
Joker.
Joke?
He's part of the
Yeah,
I
Joker is the
Oh,
best.
I
man.
just forgot about it because he's part of the crew. You know, like
Yeah.
him and Chakwas are fantastic NPCs.
Oh yeah.
Yes, they
Especially
are.
if you drink with her. She's awesome. But yeah. And Joker, have you guys ever played the story and heard the story about his sister?
No.
I think I might have.
Okay, Fusion, I'm just going to say there's an Asari in the hospital in Mass Effect 3.
Okay.
Go through all her ambient dialogue. You have to, like, go
Okay.
in and out of the hospital a few times.
Okay.
It's dark. Like,
Okay.
very dark. And it's about
Alright.
Joker's sister.
All right. Well, I have something new to learn now.
Yeah.
in
And that's
ME3.
what's awesome about the Mass Effect games. I've played a dozen plus playthroughs. I'm still finding shit. Like, I just found on this last run, or the prior to the Insanity run, the Mars rover glitch, where if you go through the solar panels on Mars in the right order, you can get the little rover to come up and wave at you. It's very cool, very cute, and like nobody found it. It was in the original. Nobody found it. One of the developers who was was no longer with BioWare tweeted it out when the Legendary Edition was going to drop. It's like, hey, try this. You might like it. And then it turns out, yeah, the little Mars rover. It's the first. I think it's Pathfinder or whatever. One of the 2 rovers we've already sent up can drive up
Yep.
to you and wave at you.
That's cute.
Yeah. All right. Well, that does it for today's podcast. This for episode 21. I want to thank Crofteria for joining us to talk Mass Effect.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
So
thank you.
definitely go follow her. If you're watching the video, her Twitter handle is on the screen, and her Twitch URL is at the same username. So go check her out. If you're on YouTube, I'll have the links down below. Especially because you can watch her flirt with aliens in the Mass Effect run right now. It's always a good time.
Oh yeah.
And since she's overseas for us, which is why we're doing this early, I like to get up, get breakfast, and watch the stream. So, one of my go-tos when I see she's live when I wake up. Assuming I haven't snoozed through my alarm like a dozen times. Which I
It
often
happens,
do.
I understand.
And I'm a guy, so I can get away with it. I can go to work with like 15 minutes. So, all right. Any other closing thoughts?
No, it's been a blast.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a
that's good.
fantastic start to my day. I'm very, very happy we could make this work. So thanks everyone for hanging. I know I saw a couple of follows. I have my windows hidden now, so I can't see if anybody else has. But thank you, chat, for hanging out and watching the stream. I hope you guys check it out. We've got our audio links somewhere. I need to get the chatbot commands with all the Podbean audio links and stuff. But we're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Google Podcasts. We're on pretty much everything because Podbean can put the RSS feed wherever I want them to. So just search WARTburg and Fusion Entertainment Review. And I think maybe WAFER on a couple of them, just based off the search SEO. Because we love acronym names. WARTburg and Fusion Entertainment Review. WAFER works just fine. So thanks everyone for hanging. And we'll see you next time. I'm thinking by the time this drops, Ted Lasso will be out. So we're definitely going to talk Ted Lasso for episode 22. May get a guest for that one. Or we might, and we're going to do an upcoming episode, possibly with Nick Schwartz. You may know him as the Sauce Monkey for Rooster Teeth, about sports movies. If I can get him to define a time. Because he's got a newborn, so shit gets weird. I understand. But we're going to talk our top 10 favorite sports movies. It's going to be dope. Thanks, Crofteria, for joining. It's been a blast
thank
nerding
you.
out with you, like I already said earlier.
It's been great.
And I'll see you around. Bye, everybody.